Union President Stacey Davis Gates.
Wait. As Stacey comes up. Wait, I just have to take, as Stacey comes up and Evelyn starts the panel, I am promising you we will have lunch from 1 to 2. Anyone who needs to leave beforehand, you'll leave beforehand. But I want to make sure we honor Dolores, and I want to make sure you hear our community advocates. So microphone 4, before Stacey, our amazing, iconic leader from the CTU speaks. Microphone 4.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Terrain Reeves, United Federation of Teachers, Local 2. I'd like to take a point of personal.
I hate that they asked me to do this on a Saturday because I'm so tired. And when I'm tired, I'm more vulnerable. And I cry at work. So somebody tell Casey Sweeney I might cry at work. Thank you, Randy, because I'm gonna need a minute, because I feel something. If I was in the church that my family helped to found, I would say I feel a spirit. I feel love. You all love this union. Every last one of you loves this union. And I'm so glad you do, because I'm gonna ask you to do some hard things because you love this union. I am from Chicago, South Side. And I represent the great state of Illinois. So what I'm gonna ask you to do, I know you can do. What do you need, AFT? What do you need? And what do you care about? What do you need in a moment where the children will return to your schools hungrier than when they left? What do you care about, East Aurora, when ICE shows up at your doorstep? I'm working on my leadership out loud because they've been kicking my ass in Chicago. It is hard transforming something that isn't supposed to fit for all of us. And because of that, I have had to practice a radical type of solidarity. I have had to ask people for what I need because I care about us. AFT, I care about our democracy. Because unless we have that, we are not going to feed hungry children. We are not going to have health care for all of us. And vouchers will destroy any mention of public schools. I was provoked earlier what day is it? Thank you. Thank you. So it was Thursday. I went into a museum and I was reminded of how to win. I was reminded that workers left plantations. They were allied with anybody that cared about their humanity. And when they left that plantation, they created the capacity to abolish slavery, to create a path to citizenship and the right to vote for everybody in this room. What do you care about, AFT? And what do you need to do it with? This panel that is coming up here is going to talk about the type of radical solidarity that we need in the courthouse, that we need in the legislature, that we need at the ballot box, that we need on the street if they invalidate it. So figure out that racism is a solidarity killer. Figure out that infighting is a solidarity killer. Figure out how we build capacity to send that man's ass back somewhere else. I gotta go because I've abused my privilege. You get to care about Resolution 88. You get to care about Resolution 998. But goddamn it, if you care about that more than my right to vote, we are in the wrong place together. Our solidarity is the reason of this convention. Our organizing, our ability to see each other, fight for each other, and win with each other. AFT, what do you care about?
Well, testing. Hello, can you hear me? All right, all right, all right. I like this mood. I like this spirit. Let's keep it on. Let's keep it on. Are you with me? Okay. Thank you so much, my sister Stacy. You definitely set the perfect baseline. When we talk about building power,
We aren't talking about academic theory. We aren't talking about survival, equity, and winning. This is a true community conversation, not a series of speeches. I want to bring, and they are here, bring out our panel all at once. So I'm going to introduce them to you. Danny Negrete, Marsha Howard, Ashley Woodward Henderson, Alex Lawson, and Radithia Abrams from the SUNY Downstate campaign. All right. So we're going to talk about spark and movement and moving people into action. So Donnie, you work restlessly to bring people into the fold with Indivisible, which I love, and No Kings. What keeps people on the sidelines when they see injustice? Number one. And how do we build digital and ground infrastructure that helps them take the first confident step together?
Right. Well, so I have to say, first off, I'm so happy to be here with this crew. If anybody here went to a No Kings protest, raise your hand, shout out. Oh my God. One of the best things to hear when you're planning an event is AFT will be there, because AFT shows up hugely. And I'm so appreciative for the partnership that we've had with you all throughout all of these No Kings and Hands Off protests. And genuinely, as we're seeing these actions just grow year over year, month over month, we're seeing people come off the sidelines, not because they are terrified by what this administration is doing, by the stories that we're seeing of ICE activity and attacks on workers, but because they are motivated by those actions. They're motivated by those stories, and they know that they have power that they can step into in this moment. And the most important thing that we can do is tell them that they have a home to organize within, that they have a space to step into, that they won't be alone in that work. And that's what this whole movement is about, building those spaces and those homes for people to join. So when they do step into that power, they have people that they're acting alongside and that they can build collectively with. And that's what AFT and the union community is all about. We are so excited and thankful that we've been able to build that alongside all of you.
Thank you so much, Stany. So my next question is to Marsha. You live collective action at the absolute epicenter of your community, resistance in Minneapolis. When people discover they aren't alone, everything changes. So my question is, what does it look like on the ground to create spaces where everyday people feel safe enough to step forward and to participate?
I think what that feels like is frankly just community, but that sounds a little trite because you got to be aware that normal people do get scared. Normal people are scared. Normal people are scared of losing their job. Normal people are scared of an armed person that has the power of the government behind them. Normal people are scared, but then something interesting happens. You realize that you have neighbors who will have your back. You have coworkers that do have your back. You got family that do have your back. And then you look to your left and you look to your right, whether you're at work, at your church, at your job, on your street, and then you say, wait a minute, hold up. It's more of us than it is of them.
That's right.
It's more of us than it is of them. And we can stand shoulder to shoulder with each other. And we can be a neighbor to each other and stand in solidarity with each other. And where there's people, there's what?
Power.
Y'all better act like you know. When there's people, there's what? And that is the truth. There is nothing in the waters of Minneapolis that makes us different than any other place. All right? Where there's people, there's power. You got to know your neighbors and then get brave enough to trust in them and trust in yourself and stand with them, because you might not be on the sidelines. You might get drugged into the street. So it's probably better if you walk into that street first. You feel me?
Thank you so much. So now we see the spark on the ground, but the next challenge is taking the local energy and scaling it up into massive institutional wins. So, Vidithya, let's talk about a monumental victory. The SUNY Downstate campaign brought together with PEF, UUP, NYSET, local clergy, and elected officials to protect healthcare equity in Brooklyn, New York, and secure a $1.1 billion investment. What unexpected benefits emerged from this coalition, and how did labor and community partners successfully align their goals to save this hospital?
So at first I'd like to say, I came to this fight has been 20 years, right? So we can't say it was a win overnight. And I got into this fight towards the end. And so before me, there was a chapter president, Rowena Blackman Stroud, that for 20 years, this organization was closing, and she kept getting them to give us more time, more time. And so we were at the point where it was enough, and we did not want to hear anymore that we're going to give you another year, we're going to give you another 2 years, we're going to have another 3 years. And they got a new chancellor, and they decided to close the facility. And what really happened was, I think, what started the movement was the first time the chancellor came to Brooklyn in the community to tell the community that this hospital would no longer be there. And so he had a meeting at a church, and a member, so you know your members are very important, had a relationship with the church and decided that she would get me a seat to be in the church to see the chancellor. And at that point, we turned out over 300 to 400 people between UUP and PEP were present at the church to let them know that this would not happen. What materialized from that was the clergy was in the audience, community boards were in the audience, our members, our physicians, our doctors were in the audience, and that's what created this coalition. So what do we have to do? I wrote it down. It's community power, worker power, institutional and political power all together. I will tell you that I was very new at this job. I had a great local president, Fred Cole, that says, go ahead, girl, do what you got to do. We got your back. I saw Randy on the steps in Albany. I saw Melinda on the step, and they said, we're coming to Downstate. We're going to help you to do this work. And so we know we can't do it by ourselves. We need our community partners. We need our faith-based leaders. We need our people on the ground. We marched around that hospital until there was legislation for a decap. We marched around till we got the $1.1 billion to make Downstate what it is. But what is the issue? This is what I say. No permanent wins without permanent relationships.
Come on.
Build those relationships from the ground up. You have to build relationships in your community. And so what we're doing now is try to sustain those relationships while we rebuild Downstate Medical Center.
We agree, relationships. Thank you, Editha. Now, Alex, you navigate the federal landscape fighting to protect critical national safety nets with Social Security works. Looking at the example of local fights like SUNY Downstate, how do we effectively bridge the gap between outside community agitation and targeted inside policy strategies?
It's a really important discussion. The answer is going to be the people in the audience right now. The key is to remember that politicians are by nature lagging indicators. They're never going to be the brave people that show the way. The people show the way. And that's why I want you to look to the person to the left of you. That's who got us to where we are today. No one got us to where we are today. We got ourselves to where we are today. And then look to the person to the right of you. That's who you're going to be standing next to when we build the country and the world that we know we can, because we have all the tools that we need to do what we know we have to do. It's not just about defeating Donald Trump and the fascists and ICE. It is, but it's about building a world that we can be proud of. It's about building a world that we know is within our grasp. We are the richest country in the history of the world. Of course, everyone can have a great education. Of course, everyone can have a secure retirement. It's obvious that we can do this. It's just that there are some billionaires who've corrupted the whole system to make people feel alone. And the newest thing is algorithmic isolation. When you are told that you have to be alone and isolated, you have no power. You're worried about the sword falling on your neck, and you're not seeing that it's already falling on your neighbor's neck. That's isolation. What we do is build community. What we do is understand that only when we work with our neighbors in our community, that's when we feel our power. That's when we understand our bravery. And that's when we can invite more people in. And then when we are brave, the politicians follow. Never wait for a cavalry that will not come, because we are the cavalry. You are the cavalry. It's our power that will change the world. And Washington, D.C. will just have to catch up to AFT.
Yeah, I like that. So building relationships, building community, being present, great. And we all know that we're all doing that, right? Moving forward. But Ashley, you see how all these threads weave together across the South and the nation at the Highlander Center. Synthesize this for us. Where are the greatest opportunities over the next several months for unions and community partners to build together, so we aren't just fighting defensive battles, but actively expanding our power?
I love this question. What's up, AFT?
Yeah.
Listen, I came a long way on 2 different airplanes, got here at 1 a.m. Y'all can do better than that.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, what's good, AFT? It is a blessing and a privilege to be on the stage with my comrades, my family, my loved ones, and to be with y'all. I think I'm going to say something and then I'm going to contradict what I'm telling you. You ready? Because multiple things can be true at the same time, right? So I want to say unequivocally that you are already doing this. I'm not telling you anything particularly new, and I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know, okay? Okay?
Okay.
All right. So every time, how many of y'all are in social clubs beyond the union? Waving. Sorority, billiards club, I don't give a shit, right? And how many of y'all maybe you're churchy folks or go to the synagogue or a mosque or something, waving me? Yeah. Every time you do that, you are building relationship with workers and community.
That's right. That's right.
Not rocket science, my friends. Every time you go to Taco Bell and you make an order, you are talking to a worker as a worker, right? So we do this all the time. What then happens is we get in movement spaces and we overcomplicate it, okay? You every day are watching the benefit of what it looks like when people come together across difference to figure shit out. That's what the secret sauce of Highlander, y'all, is that we brought people together since the early 1900s, as our young people say. Bringing people together across their differences to learn from each other, break bread, and figure stuff out. That's it. That's all the work is. The opportunities, I think, over the next few. So I'm telling you, you do it, and I'm telling you that our movements do it pretty shittily.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know, because Donald Trump would not be in the White House for a second time if we did it well, right? Secret, I'm about to spill my own tea, is that the vast majority of people in the United States didn't vote at all. 88 to 90 million people, right? They didn't vote, not only because the candidates kind of sucked, which is true, but they didn't trust the GOP. They didn't trust the Democratic Party. And guess who else they didn't trust, y'all? Who? They say the first step is admitting you have a problem, right? They didn't trust us either. So the opportunities to me, again, to not make it rocket science, is to rebuild that, literally remember how to be in community again with regular ass people. That's it, y'all. It's like, what are the things that your students are talking about? What are the things that their parents are talking about? What are the things that you're hearing at the grocery store and at church? And all the ways that you are actually human with other humans? Because you don't build relationship and trust just through saying you want to. You don't believe me. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna shut up. Imagine I come to you and I say, you beautiful person, all of you that I'm looking at, we go together now. I'm your girlfriend. Congrats. Yes, girl. Don't tell my actual girlfriend. But I come to your neighborhood and I say, hey, we go together. And you're like, but I don't even know you. And I'm like, yeah, but I love you. I know what's good for you, girl. Right? I get paid to know what's good for you. I certainly get social credit for knowing what's good for you. You should want to be with me because I care about you. That's how we roll into people's shops.
Yeah,
That's how we roll up into people's neighborhoods.
that's true.
Instead of being like, I am very curious about you because I think that my being good is probably dependent on you being good. And so what would me being good to you look like? Right? How about we build relationships across our sectors, across the labor movement, across the economic justice and other movements by being like, maybe we build solidarity and trust and relationship through some shared fucking work. Right? Now, I don't know about y'all, but it sounds like there's a million things that we could be doing. The affordability agenda, healthcare for all, this, that. We could spend the next 6 months writing another platform, or we could be like, there's a fascist in the White House. Maybe we should do something about that. Right? And I just told you there are 88 to 90 million people who were like, we're going to sit this one out. What would happen if every single one of us, regardless of whether our IU told us to or not, whether the AFL approved it or not, which they have already, but if they hadn't, what if we just decided we were going to be in relationship with those people enough that they decided, maybe I'll throw down this time, right? So I think there's a million opportunities. That's actually the problem. We're overwhelmed by the number of opportunities. I think if we focused in and we're like, yo, y'all just passing all these proposals and shit, what if you actualize them where you are with regular people, inside and outside of your union? How's that sound? Keep it easy, my people.
All right, great, Ashley. Thank you so much. So we only have 6 more minutes. In 45 seconds, what would you like? What is your sharpest take? If we got it, we're building up that toolbox, moving. I heard being present. I heard building community, building trust. Because what I heard you say is we have all of these things going on, but if we're not present and people are not trusting and investing what we're saying, they're not going to come off their couches. They're not going to get up. How do we inspire them? How do we make that happen? 45 seconds, each one of you. Let's start with you,
Radhika. So, first I want to shout out Pat Wayne Spence and the relationship he had with Fred Cole that built the trust that we were able to move forward. And my sister Debbie, that's out in the audience. But I want to say this one thing. It's okay to be uncomfortable in any room you get into, and that is what will build the coalitions and trust. It doesn't matter. You don't have to agree on certain things, but you have to agree that you want to build this community, you want to build something, you want to tell the truth. And I think that a lot of us are uncomfortable when we get into certain rooms, and that happened to me. But go in that room, because you will find someone that also has the same values, the same morals, and want to do good work. So I think being uncomfortable is an important thing for you to be.
Thank you, Marsha.
I'm a retired Marine, so my brain is always thinking about like North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. I'm always thinking like in terms of fitness, but like if you ever get spotted, sometimes you can start with like low weight, but you do heavy reps. But if you getting spotted, right, you have to trust the person that's spotting you, right? But if you do low weight, heavy reps, eventually you build muscle. And then y'all can move to heavier weight, but you'll do fewer reps. That's how it is. You are in coalition, you in community, and you start with things that may be lower weight, but you eventually can all join together when something is a heavier weight, but y'all can do that because y'all have already done these smaller things. Your unions, your locals should find alliances with other locals, with other community groups, with religious groups, with immigration advocacy groups. Start stepping outside the box, even if you think, oh, the electricians don't fuck with us. You know what? find somebody. Everybody married to somebody. Everybody messing with somebody. Start having coalitions. Having coalitions, because y'all, we all workers. We're all workers, and you're gonna need them in times. I've been Black for 53 Black-ass years. I feel something in the wind. We all gonna need each other in a minute. You feel me?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Alex?
So I think everything that has been said, and there's a tension because we are brave, we are organized, we are leaders, and we create spaces and invite people in. But one thing that I personally had to learn is a little bit of humility in those spaces and the ability to offer grace to people who are walking our way but might not have been there the whole journey. It's more important to invite in with grace and build power than it is to be right all the time.
Yes. Thank you.
This is the key thing that I've learned in organizing, is that sometimes that uncomfortableness is that you and a person are not going to agree on everything, and that's okay. If the scales fall from someone's eyes, that is a magical moment to bring them in. But it might only be one time that they try to walk in. And if they're hit with resistance at that moment, they might never try again. So inviting in with grace and humility, even at the same time as we hold our identities as brave leaders who are marching forward to build the world that we know we can.
Come on.
Excellent. I love that. Annie?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I think I've really internalized about coalition building over the years is that when a relationship matters to you, it is okay for it to be asymmetrical sometimes. It is okay to say, I'm going to show up for this person, for this community, like every day, every weekday. I'm going to show up, even if they're not showing up for me, because somewhere down the line, I'm going to be taking a big swing, and I want them to know that I was there for them, whether it was a mutual aid on a weekday, maybe visiting their Congress member's office. The quiet things that not everybody sees, it is important to be a part of them so the person who matters sees them. Because when we actually do have to come in a few months together to take those big swings, and we need every part of this coalition to be not just leaned in, but to feel some degree of ownership, to feel like they have skin in the game. They want to see the people who they trust and they've built trust with week over week, month over month, year over year, leading that fight and inviting them in to lead with them.
Thank you. Great. Great job. Go ahead, Ashley.
I'm gonna work on my 45 seconds. Y'all saw me write it down because I don't want to get in trouble with my comrade. I'm gonna say a few things. Pulling on what Alex said, this is low ego, high impact time. This is low ego, high impact time. This is not about you. This is not about your single organization, your single movement. We all about to be real fucked up out here in these streets. I'm from Tennessee. Any Tennessee? Where's the dirty South in the room? What's up, Tennessee? So, you know, it's bad already. And it's about to get worse. And like, we still got 2 more years of this administration if we let it be. Prove it. Show, not tell. If no, we don't, then do it. Do it like my life actually depends on it. Because guess what? It really does.
That's right.
Right? So low ego, high impact. This is show, not tell time. I know you. I already told you, right? We go together now. So I know you are in here pissed off and exhausted, ready to rumble. I know that you are grieving and sad. I know that some of y'all are optimistic. Where are my optimistic folks? Like it's gonna get greater later. I see you, I feel you. Where are my skeptics at? Y'all like, this shit's about to burn.
Also.
And let it burn. Yeah, right? So we're coming in from 1,000 different degrees of emotions. And so how many of y'all feel all of that at the same time? Yeah, me too, right? I'm a Gemini. So you should know that since I'm your girlfriend. So again, it's like, if you feel that way and you're relatively in action already, imagine how it would feel to not have a political home and feel all of that. And all of y'all are telling all of us to do different calls to action on different days, every day, every week for the next, how long? Right? Low ego, high impact, it's show, not tell tone. I would offer that this is a time of multiplication, right? We need to be building bigger, better relationships with more and more people instead of having these perfection cults, right? Again, pulling from what Alex said, you might get my pronouns wrong. White folks, y'all might call me colored on accident. And guess what? That's fucked up, right? And for all the people that are like, yeah, man, fuck those racist, sexist, blah, 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 blah. If I'm a revolutionary and that's the thing that breaks me from movement, womp womp, right? So how do we not let perfection be the enemy of accountability, right? And that accountability plus grace and respect and relationship actually doesn't have to feel like punishment.
Yep.
Right? We actually get to belong to somebody, be accountable to somebody. I'm sorry, I'm failing on the 45 seconds.
Yeah,
You guys.
Stay at the table, y'all. I was at Indivisi Fest. I don't even remember when that was, like a year ago now.
Yeah.
Jesus. And they were asking me this similar question. And I was like, I get it. Women's March or somebody gets on your nerves where you live. And is it more important that they know that they get on your nerves than it is for y'all to work together to stop a fascist?
That's right.
Or maybe it's indivisible. Maybe, can I pick on ourselves?
Oh,
Maybe
please.
indivisible gets on your nerves. Black people, y'all like, that no king shit is white as hell. And they waving American flags. I'm not doing that. Is it more important, just to be real, for you to be right about them being annoying than it is to be the fascist? Not a rhetorical question, my friends. It is not. It is not. If the Christian preacher who gets everything wrong every day except he doesn't like Donald Trump is down to work with me, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work with him. I might take 3 showers, right? But I'm gonna work with him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay at the table even when that shit feels gross and hard, so that we can live to fight about the other shit another day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I'm not also gonna say he's a racist, or a homophobe, or a transphobe, or ableist, or whatever. We can say the whole truth.
But I'm gonna put you on one, and
Yeah.
this is what I say
Okay.
at George Floyd Square with my young revolutionaries. For all of y'all who went no contact with that uncle that you're gonna sit down with at Thanksgiving, listen, it's okay for him to change his mind. Bring him on back. Bring him on back, baby. I might need his vote. I might need his vote. Come on, keep talking to him. Now, that don't mean let him hurt you. But I'm saying you might want to reach out to that auntie or that uncle and talk to him. I ain't never taught nobody that I made feel dumb first. So you ain't got to gloat and you ain't got to dunk on them. But won't you check in on that person that you ain't talked to in a year?
I promise you, you're always going to get the opportunity to dunk later anyway. Can we win first?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I got this.
Thank
So
you.
let me just say, courage is contagious. And what you've heard here are different strategies. If you're not doing it, think about it. And you can talk to everyone on this panel as we move out. But always know that what I heard especially was humility, lower your ego, be present, trustworthy, and showing up. And if we can and build these coalitions in a way, I always say that you're going to have some members that are going to tie themselves to the bridge and they're going to take them away. They're radical. They're there. Then you have other members that say, oh, I can't deal with that, but I can make peanut butter and jelly signs for the rally. I can have give out water. I can do an email. So what I always say is accept people where they are, because everybody's in a different place. But we're all together in this fight, because I agree with everyone on this panel, because we're not fighting today about this. We're going to be separated tomorrow, fighting about something else and crying out loud. So respect our differences, respect who we are, our religion. I'm a woman of faith, if you want to say, and I'm proud about it, but I agree with you. I don't have to agree with everything, but I do know that in this fight, we're righteous. And for this moment, I'm going to stand with you, because this is a righteous fight.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to bring this home from its inspiration to direct actionable marching orders. Please welcome back to the podium, the president of AFT Massachusetts, Jessica Tang.
Woo! All right.
Wow, what What an incredible panel. Who here is fired up and ready to go? Fired up? Fired up? Listen, I know you're going to be even more fired up and ready to go after you get some food in your bellies after lunch. So I'm going to wrap this up as quickly as I can. But look at what we just witnessed on this stage. The victories, the strategies, the resilience. When we started this session, Stacey Davis Gates reminded us that solidarity is what we need to win what we really care about. Evelyn, Danny, Marcia, Alex, Ashley, and Raditha didn't just tell us why collective action matters. They gave us the blueprint for how it actually works. They reminded us that building community power isn't a passive exercise. It is active organizing to move people from despair to hope, from quiet concern to bold action, from fear to courage. It is built through small one-to-one conversations each day as individuals realize they are not alone and that together we can use our collective power to create change. So from Minneapolis to Brooklyn, from the north to the very important south, the lesson is the same. When we find each other, when we refuse to let our communities be divided, when we align the institutional power of our unions with the moral power of our neighborhoods, we win. But as we look ahead to the next several months, we know the attacks on public education, on healthcare, on workers' rights, and our very democracy are only going to continue to intensify. The autocrats and the billionaires want us to believe that the problems are too big and that our voices are too small. But our history, our labor movement, and who we are as AFT, because who are we? AFT. Tell a completely different story. Our strength has never come from the top down. It has always come from the ground up. It has always come from the basic radical act of showing up for one another. As Randy often says, not everyone can do everything, but everyone can do something. And in this moment, everyone must do something. What our next chapter will be depends on it. And as we close out this panel, prepared to take these lessons back home, I ask us to ground ourselves in the memory of a true giant of our movement. This past October, we lost a legendary warrior, a bridge builder, a trailblazer, the founding president of both APALA, the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, and UALE, the United Association of Labor Educators. Our dear brother, my friend and mentor, CFT VP Kent Wong. His last major speech was at the Teach Conference last summer. He inspired us all by sharing how Los Angeles, in the face of ICE terror, quickly mobilized to hold a mass nonviolence training for over 1,400 people, the largest training in the history of Los Angeles, perhaps the country. He then called on all of us to expand that training movement ourselves and shared this link that I now call on all of you today to open up and use. Because the work we need to do today is just as urgent, if not more so, as it was last July. Thousands have already been trained on topics like fighting for democracy with people power. Everyone is an organizer, preparing ourselves for safety and security, driving mass mobilization and non-cooperation. The next few months are critical. We need all hands on deck. But it's not too late to start preparing now. So please sign up today to bring MOVE workshops back to your communities. MOVE, by the way, is mobilize, organize, vote, and empower. And as Kent said last year, the power of justice is more powerful than the forces of tyranny, hatred, and racism. So let us carry Kent Wong's light with us. Let us honor his legacy by refusing to let anyone in our communities stand alone. Let's take this energy, find our people, train up, skill up, and build unstoppable collective power and take our next steps together in unity and solidarity. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're almost done, but I want everyone to just give me 2 more minutes. My friends, mis amigos y amigas, mis hermanas y hermanos, what a challenge I have before me. How do I summarize a lifetime? Not a career, but a lifetime. Not a list of accomplishments, but more than 70 years of going up against Goliath, of showing us that when injustice is great, our determination to fight, it must be even greater. I spent days trying to find the words. I don't think I have found them. So instead, I want to tell you what this mujer poderosa, this powerful woman, means to me. Dolores Huerta rose from humble beginnings to command admiration from some of our country's foremost leaders. Former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi called her an icon. Robert F. Kennedy called her an old friend, and she stood with him in Los Angeles on the final night of his life. One fellow activist called her the first general I followed into war. But last night, she corrected me and said she was an OG. Dolores Huerta began her career in 1950 as a teacher, like so many people in this room. She left the classroom after 1 year because, in her words, I couldn't stand seeing farm worker children come to class hungry. Mi familia, that was the first rumble of an earthquake. She organized farm workers. She fought to protect them from deadly pesticides. She helped win health benefits, pensions, and safer working conditions. She negotiated contracts that gave workers power and dignity. She forced the ground to shift, and I am barely scratching the surface of what she has done. As a Latina woman, I know what her life has meant beyond any victory won at the bargaining table. She proved that Latinas don't just belong in the movement, but that we lead it, we shape it, and we change history. At the heart of it all, I see her sacrifice and our mothers' and grandmothers' sacrifices. These mujeres poderosas look power straight in the eye, intimidating white male power, and spoke the truth. But the earth really started to shift when this mujer poderosa looked into the eyes of all the workers who were suffering and shouted, "Sí se puede, sí se puede." How many of you have chanted those words at rallies and protests? Well, this is the woman who coined that motto of our movement that continues to inspire and motivate workers to demand justice. Mi familia, there can be no greater honor for me as a Latina, as someone who has spent my career in the labor movement, than to present the AFT's Lifetime Achievement Award to the lioness who has inspired generations of workers to not only say those words, but to make them true. I give you Dolores Huerta.
Thank you very much. Thank you, President Weingarten, for giving me this great honor to be able to be here with all of you and to be able to thank you for all of the dedication and all of the work that you have been doing to not only to educate and keep our children safe, but to keep democracy alive, okay? So one would think that our educators and our healthcare workers are doing enough already, and just to educate our children to bring the enlightenment that they need to be able to live their lives in the future and to serve communities. But now to give you the additional task that you have to be the vanguard. that you are the ones that are going to have to save democracy, because we know that democracy is under attack in our country right now. And one would think, well, we're going to bring in the militia to help us, okay? They're going to be the ones that are going to keep democracy alive and to keep all of us safe. And instead, we see just the opposite happening. Instead of the militia being there to protect us, we see that they are actually being used and oftentimes to terrorize our communities, to arrest people, to put people in detention centers, something I think many of us never, ever thought that we would ever see this in our lifetime. And so that now not only are you supposed to continue to educate and enlighten our children and our community, but now you also have to be the protectors, and you have to be the guardians. And this is giving so many more additional tasks. And then let's add one more, as with the previous panelists spoke, that you've also got to get out and educate the community, because we know that all of our educators in many areas are under attack. People want to dissolve our educational system. They want to privatize our educational system. They want to continue to keep the country in ignorance. They want to bring us back to the days of slavery, where people do not have rights. And you, again, are the troops. You are the troops that are going to try to keep our country safe, to keep our country alive. And it's not just within the educational system itself, but in order to do this, we've got to get community members, community coalitions, and say to them, you also have a responsibility to support the educators in our communities, because our educators are under attack. They want to control the educational system. They want to make sure, and like in our area, where they want to put Bibles in all of the classrooms. And we know that this is a very determined kind of a campaign that they have to say, how can they dumb down our educational system? In everything, all of the advances that we've already made, they want to see how they can reverse those, because they know as long as they can keep people ignorant, they can keep people divided. They can always make people susceptible to the lies and the misinformation that is spewed upon them. So I just want to say, I want to thank all of you with all my heart for all of the work that you are doing. And yes, we have to do whatever we can to make sure that you, our educators, our healthcare workers, you are supported in every way that you possibly can. And want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And just thank you so much for keeping, as Jesse Jackson said, keeping hope alive. Keeping hope alive. Keeping education alive. Keeping our spirit alive, to make sure that the spirit that really formed this country, to make sure that it was inclusive and that everybody was included. And I know that we're all getting ready for the elections. We're all getting ready to make sure that in addition to all the work that you have, to make sure that our people out there in our communities know that it is so important for them to get out there and that they register to vote and that they also vote. And I want to add one more thing, and that is, as you speak to the candidates that are running for Congress, remind them that we have to pass the Equal Rights Amendment, everybody. It is a shame that the United States of America is the only developed country, in addition to all the things that we do not have, like universal health care, universal daycare, universal adult care, universal education, that we do not have in our Constitution, that women are equal to men, okay? So we have to say, ahora es cuando, now is the time, and this next Congress, the next Congress that we elect, to make sure that every single congressperson is committed ahead of time, that they will vote for the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, so we can finally have it in our Constitution that women are equal to men. So we can make it happen in this election. Again, I want to thank you for all of the work that you do now, for all the work that you're going to be doing in the future. And I am going to ask you to do one special thing. And I'm going to ask you, if you all could please all stand up, everybody. And I know I'm going to make this roar so loud that it's going to be heard throughout the whole United States of America, because I am going to ask you a question, and I know you know the answer because you've already shown it, you've already proven it. I want to ask you who's got the power, and I'm going to say, you're going to answer, we've got the power. And when I say what kind of power, I think we can say, what, teacher power? Is that okay? A union power. President Mike Wyatt said we use a union power, okay? So, but we're gonna do this so loud, also all the haters, all of the people that are trying to dumb down our educational system so that they can hear us. Are you ready? Okay, all right. Who's got the power? We got the power. I think we can do better than that, okay? One more time. So let's do it even louder so that the haters can hear us, okay? All right, let's go. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Union power. Are we going to use our union power to make sure that we get a new Congress elected, that we continue the fight for democracy? What do we say? Se puede? Let's do, okay, let's do that even louder, okay? Si se puede means, yes, I can. Yes, you can. Yes, all of us, we can and we will. So let's go one more time, and we'll do it all together with an organized hand clap. Let's go. Si, se, puede. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this great honor. Thank you.